This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we are still, after 26 years, coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And to find out about the programming we have available for you, 7/24/365 on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. My guest this segment, X-Zone, is a fellow Ontarian living in the city of Toronto, moved here from BC not that long ago, and her name is Cress Spicer. Cress has a passion for assisting adults and children with autism on their journey to health, wellness, and living an empowered, passionate spiritual life. Her own official journey began in 1994 when she studied Reiki Level 1 and found it instrumental in assisting her with the personal issues she was going through at the time. Even as a young child, she was very intuitive and could see and sense energy. Reiki gave her the means to connect more deeply to her intuition, spirituality, and authentic self. She loved Reiki and became a Reiki Master teacher in 1999. She still loves to share with adults and children her passion of Reiki and teaching others how to connect with their intuition and spiritual self. In 2002, Cress found herself suffering from severe allergies and digestive disorders. It was then that she first was introduced to BodyTalk. Cress found that BodyTalk was the only modality that really got to the root cause of the imbalances in her body, mind, and spirit. She was absolutely impressed by the results, and to this very day, those health concerns have never come back. This healing experience inspired Cress to embark on a journey to study BodyTalk for herself. Now, in 2004, she became a Certified BodyTalk Practitioner. Her love of BodyTalk continued to grow, and in 2008, Cress became a Certified BodyTalk Access Trainer, teaching classes nationwide. She loves to share BodyTalk with others and continues to be truly amazed by the results that she sees for both adults and children. Cress's specialty is working with children with autism and adult and children stress issues. Her website is www.infinitebodytalk.net. And joining me now from Toronto, Ontario, just down the road from Hamilton, is Cress Spicer. And Cress, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you.
How did you get into alternative health? Why did you get into alternative health?
Well, basically, originally the reason I got into alternative health is because for my own healing. You know, my mother got cancer when she was 40, and that was the first time she had it. And when I went to the hospital with her, the doctor said that it was caused through stress. And then I realized that, you know, maybe I need to do something differently. So that I was probably 18 years old. And I realized that was starting my interest into alternative health and sort of looking after myself and doing things differently. And then in 1990, I came to Canada, and that's when my journey started even more deeply with all the, learning Reiki and the other things. So, it was basically, I've always had the intuition, so I've always been connected to that and very interested in that, and, but ultimately it was my mother getting sick that really, stopped me in my tracks and thinking I've got to do something differently,
So the doctor said that this cancer was caused by stress?
Yeah, emotional stress and physical stress. And all my family's in England. But, she had a lot of stress she went through. She had 3 kids and she worked full time. And, and she was working 6-7 days a week sometimes and 12-hour days. So I really saw her.
My goodness.
Gosh, being under a lot of pressure, yeah.
All right, Cress, please stand by. You and I have to take our first commercial. We'll be back on the other side of this short break. X-Zone Nation, our guest this hour is Cress Spicer. And if you'd like to contact Cress or visit her online, infinitebodytalk.net. That's www.infinitebodytalk.net. And Chris and I will return on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Exonation, Cress Spicer is my special guest. We're talking about Body Talk this hour here in the X-Zone. Her website is infinitebodytalk.net. Now, why did you stick with it to make it your profession? Body Talk we're talking about, as well as alternative health.
Well, I'm passionate about alternative health and healing. And, it's something I've always been passionate since a child about doing things naturally, taking flower essences, and, then I do aromatherapy. But I'm passionate about how I can live the best life and helping, because I love to share my my journey with others and knowledge that I've learned along the way. And because I've been being in the alternative health profession since 1994 officially, when I did the Reiki Level 1, I really realized the benefits of alternative health and healing and meditation, and how it can help you reduce the stress, how it can help you to, follow your path and purpose and to live the life you really love. And I really am passionate about assisting others on their journey into health and wholeness and well-being. And it's a constant journey for me too. I'm always learning. So, it's not like I'd never stop learning.
Sure.
And I always have, I receive sessions all the time and work on my stuff. And I know, from my sessions that BodyTalk and Reiki work. And they also see amazing results with people I work with too. So, I just love to share, and I'm learning Parama and the BodyTalk. And so the thing is I love about it that it's an ever-growing process. I'm always learning. I'm always evolving. And that's exciting for me.
What is your work with children with autism? What is that all about? And how did you why did you decide to focus on children with autism?
So basically, the reason I focus with children with autism is because my training from England, because I'm from England, from Nottingham, is the NNED, which is nursery nursing. So I went to college and I studied nursery nursing, which is like children's nursery nurse. It's the in-depth development of children from birth to 7 for like 2 years, and I did a course before that for a year. So I've done a lot of study around child development and children, and also have the East Early Childhood Educator. So my training was that, and when I was like 19, I started working in the school board in England, and I worked a lot with special needs children. And when I was like 19, I used to volunteer in a hospital just before I moved over to Canada, in a special needs hospital in my hometown. And I felt a lot of compassion, and I felt a connection to these children I was working with, and a lot of them had severe autism, severe learning delays. And that was sort of the beginning for me of my journey of working with these guys. And then I worked in many school boards, both in Canada and England, as a student support worker, specifically like doing on-call work. I was supporting autistic children in the classroom. So I've had a lot of hands-on experience with these children, as well as doing Reiki and BodyTalk, and having both of these sort of running side by side for quite a few years. And basically, I mean, in Vancouver, I was doing going into some private schools and working with children with self-regulation and teaching them how to ground. And, so it's sort of all combining my experience now.
It seems that there's more autism now than any other time in history. Is there any reason for that?
You know what? It's true. It is so true. More and more children are being diagnosed with it. You know what? I think that it's always been around. I think there's a lot of people probably like years older who have different forms of autism, like Asperger's and things like that, but were never sort of designated it like 20 years ago. But as today, the designation is becoming more popular, that, there's more people saying, oh, I was like that as a child. And it's just like, I think a lot of us have these tendencies. And, it's for children, especially like when I worked in classrooms and things, and even as having clients, I mean, some of the classrooms I work with supporting children in school boards, there was like 3 or 4 autistic children in the classroom. It was just pretty surprising and shocking. Yeah.
Well, how would one diagnose a child with autism? What are some of the signs and symptoms?
Well, I mean, when you're in the school board, I mean, it's they go through like the psychological testing, and they go through the special testing. But I mean, there's some things there's common tendencies that autistic children may have. And some of those that I've noticed are that a lot of them have issues with like the communication, social, having issues with social skills, having issues being able to express and connect to their bodies and to self-regulate, because a lot of them aren't able to to recognize how they're feeling, and so get to be feeling really frustrated and lose control, and and that's when often you'll get the meltdowns and things, because they don't know how to connect to their body and just to ground themselves and to take a few breaths, and like the skills that we've learned,
right,
they often don't have, and that creates a lot of issues for them. But what I noticed too, that when I was working with them in the schools, and I did a lot of work in friendship groups and things like that with them, that it was also, those guys are very super sensitive on the energy level as well. So I was connecting and communicating with them a lot, telepathically. It wasn't just it was on a academic and supportive role and teaching them all the other skills, but often I could also connect with them on an energetic level too.
Would anger be one of the signs or one of the tattletale cells of a person being autistic?
Anger?
Yes.
Oh, no. I mean, everyone can get angry. Anybody can, right?
Right, but if a child is frustrated, they get angry. And if autistic children get frustrated because because of the disease, the disease itself, wouldn't the flare-ups of anger be part of the signs or symptoms?
I mean, it can be for some. Yeah, a lot of them. It can be because of the frustration.
Right, yeah.
It's the frustration they're feeling around, and the reason is because I personally believe, because having worked with a lot of children with behaviors, that there's a reason why children act out, right? It's not like they're ultimately bad or, angry. It's because there's a need that's not being met, or there's a need that they're not able to express. And often, like when we as adults get frustrated and angry, it's because there's something we need to say, or somebody's making us upset or angry and frustration. But with the autistic kiddies, they don't often have the means of being able to express themselves and to connect to how they feel. And this in turn then relates to like the behavior or a meltdown or but do you know what they need is, often what they need is, sometimes they need like the social stories or means of being able to connect to their emotions and to being able to express them. Sometimes, like I'd take them into walks outside and kicking a football so they could just get release their frustration.
As well as release built up energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So what is BodyTalk?
BodyTalk was created by John Veltheim, and it's an alternative form of healing, consciousness-based, and it's a combination of osteopathic, chiropractic, Vedic, Chinese medicine, Western medicine principles and Vedic principles all mixed together. And the belief is your body has the innate ability to heal itself, and using muscle testing, we're able to connect to your body's innate healing wisdom, and always asking to find out what the priority is. BodyTalk's able to get to the root causes behind imbalances on all levels and release it.
Interesting. So what other, besides autism and stress issues, what else could BodyTalk be used for? Oh,
gosh, it's amazing. I've seen amazing stuff happen. In Vancouver, I actually worked, a mother, I'll just give you an example. It can work with everything. For myself, it was like with allergies, digestive issues. You can work with, I work a lot with people with injuries. I work a lot with people with emotional issues like trauma from childhood and things like that, and belief systems that they sort of aren't working for them. BodyTalk's great for it. It works on every level. It works on the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, every level, and able to release whatever is not serving them at the root causes, the root levels. So that's why, for me, it was so powerful when I got into it, because that was the thing that transformed me, and it's never come back. I haven't had the allergies, and I don't get the digestive issues, so it really does get to the deep levels.
If BodyTalk is as good as you're saying it is, and you're living proof that it works. Why isn't BodyTalk being used by Western medical professionals?
They, you know what? They are actually. There are some pediatricians. Actually, more on the West Coast, I think there's some medical doctors who are actually using it. And also in Vancouver and on the West Coast, when I was working in Vancouver, I actually had 3 medical doctors who were clients of mine. Mm-hmm. And they took Reiki with me, too. I mean, they realized that because they were coming to see me for their injuries and things, because BodyTalk is very complementary to Western medicine, and especially all of the doctors came in with a lot of injuries and other issues, but they realized the value of it and how it could help them. There are quite a few doctors around the place who are using that, and we're using it with children too, pediatric doctors and things.
Plus, Vancouver is predominant, it has a large Asian community, and the Asian community is more accepting and more willing to use alternative medicine. Is this a factor?
Oh, I don't know, actually. I actually don't know about that. I think that, I mean, some of the communities out there are more open to alternative medicine because, like with the Chinese community, they know about qi, they know about healing and health and things like that, and other people too. No, I think.
I'm going to let you think about that as we go to a commercial break with the news. Please stand by. Exonation, Cress Spicer is our special guest, www.infinitebodytalk.net. And we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. To all our Canadian listeners, this weekend is Canada Day weekend. Canada is 150 years young. So to each and every one who's listening, who is Canadian or who wants to be a Canadian, happy Canada Day.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Cress Spicer is our special guest. We're talking about BodyTalk this hour. www.infinitebodytalk.net. Do you have any success stories that you can share with us, Cress?
Yeah, I have quite a few. One of the big ones that really stands out for me and that I found was really touching was a few years ago, a mother contacted me through Gmail, and she found my website, and she found out that I had a lot of experience working with children. And she contacted me because her daughter of 16 months was having seizures, and she'd never had seizures before, and she was going to Children's Hospital. This was quite a few years ago. And the child got put in medication, but she wanted to know why the child, the hospital couldn't find out what was causing them. So she wanted me to give the child sessions. And basically, I went to their home, and I did a home visit with the child, the mother being there, and I worked on the child. And in the first session, it was like environmental factors came up for the child. Like she was reacting to some, what was it? She was reacting to the grass at the daycare she was at, and also to some laundry powders, and then she had some memories around family and family arguments when she was younger. She remembered that was making her upset, and then she was having body chemistry issues around some allergies and intolerances and to a few things, and a few other things came up around like belief systems around not feeling safe, and this all came up in her body talk session. And in the first session, she actually stopped having a seizure. And 2 days later, her mum took her to the BC Children's Hospital, and they tested her, and everything was okay. And they took her off the medication, and the child and the mother continued to give the child more sessions. So the child had another 3 or 4 sessions just to completely move her through whatever was creating these imbalances for her.
Right.
And then the mother then started having sessions, and she had just gone through some family issues and some splitting up with her husband. And after about 6 sessions, the mother sort of left. It was just amazing transformation she had. She left where she was living in BC and moved to the interior BC, and then with her daughter, and then she started to study speech therapy, and she had a complete transformation of her life. She just said that, it was just amazing. And I actually keep in contact with her because she's still so grateful for me for doing the sessions for them, and how it completely, they had a life transformation. It was just amazing. I mean, that's really, it's a lot of, I feel a lot of gratitude being able to share that, journey with people and to be part of that. Yeah.
Tell me about your book.
So my book, I've been writing my book on autism, and basically it's about childhood autism, and it's strategies for understanding the sort of mysterious world is what it's about. And it's about case studies of kiddies I've been working with over the years, and also coming from an energy perspective as well, because I truly believe that autistic children have a strong connection to spirituality and are often functioning at a very high level of consciousness. And that's another thing I've noticed, that when I've worked with them, that they're often working on such high levels of consciousness, they're not often grounded in their body. And often I'd have to sort of sit next to them and help them ground into their body, because, and then, it's just amazing, their energy, some of these guys. So that's basically what my book is about.
What was your inspiration for writing your book?
My inspiration was that, I've always had a very strong connection with autistic children, and I was inspired because I found all of the autistic children inspiring in themselves, that I really feel they're here to awaken us to higher levels of consciousness. And some of the connections I made with some of these children, it was just amazing. And a lot of the children, believe it or not, the autistic children are extremely loving and unconditional, loving. Like a lot of the children I work with, even the ones who have behaviors and things, they have this purity and a joy to them. And that's why, I just feel inspired by those guys and want to share from the ground level, from working with them at this level, how they are special and how they are able to show us and open us to different aspects of ourselves.
But a child showing you how open they are and how loving they are, Isn't that true of all children who suffer of one disease or another?
You know what? I feel, because basically what happens, I think a lot of children, like I've worked with children with CP and a lot of other things too, and I've worked with children deafblind too, that what happens is that I think that they compensate in other ways. And all children are sensitive, right? I truly believe we're all born open to our spirituality as babies and very sensitive and connected to our spirit and the universe, whoever you want that to be. And those children, the ones, with the learning delays, the autistic kiddies, and whoever has the other guys, well, they seem to retain their openness and their connection to their spirituality and their to their loving. A lot of them keep a very open connection to their loving side, the spirituality, a love of nature. A lot of kiddies I've worked with, autistic kiddies, are very connected to nature. And, sometimes when they get obsessed about things, a lot of autistic kiddies have obsessions, around numbers or things like that. That is what their passion are, their passion. They all have their own unique ways of being.
But what about the psychological effect on the child that because they're sick, they're getting all this attention? Could this be part of the reason why they appear to be so special is because of the amount of attention that they receive from friends, family, society, and the medical community?
Can you say that again?
Certainly. You said that the autistic children were very special. They were very loving. They were very spiritual. A child who receives all this attention from their parents, society, friends, relatives, and the medical community feel that they're very special, and they open up to, they're like a flower that opens up, But other children who are well don't get the same attention. Could this be part of the solution?
It's true that those other children, it just depends, right? Because in the classroom, when I was working in the classroom, I was there to specifically support those kiddies with learning delays or other things. But I truly believe all children are gifted or beautiful in their own right as a unique soul. But by rights, sometimes children who do have extra needs or special delays or learning delays or whatever their unique thing is, they do require some extra attention to be able for them to function adequately, right? Within society or home. If those kiddies weren't given that extra attention, then, then you'd get the behaviors, and then, they need to be able to. Ultimately, the ultimate way would be to treat everybody equally.
I agree.
Right? In the equal society and things, right? But, it's,
The children that you taught, were they in a separate class, or were they in the class with the regular students?
No, they were integrated into regular mainstream. Most of them, when I worked in behavior rooms, sometimes I worked in behavior rooms, those guys were in their own room because, sometimes when you're in a room with like 5 guys and they've got, there's like 4 staff in there. There's one time, there was one behavior room I went into that was like, I felt intimidated, and I actually had to leave because I was like 4 guys, and they were all like 6'2", and they were like grade 8 students in there, and they all were having a bad day, and they had severe behaviors like to throw furniture around, and so they needed that time alone, and I actually had to leave the room because I could really sense that things were getting out of control then, and they needed that time out to just to calm themselves down, and
All right, so you've got these regular children who are not being treated for autism in the same class as the other children. How does the attention that the specially needing children who have autism, that these children are getting this attention from a specialist like yourself, how does this affect the rest of the class?
Well, for me personally, like when I was working in the school in Vancouver, and I was working with a deaf-blind child, that was in a Montessori school. That was actually a really great place because they included everybody. I made sure that it was inclusive. I always included other kiddies with her, whatever we did. Like she would choose children to come with her, and I'd make sure that we're in the middle of the classroom and be involved in it. I won't want to keep, try to keeping her in there as much as possible, right? So she feels like she's one with the class, and and being able to feel included with everybody else, for sure.
All right, but how did the children in the not special classes feel? Did they feel that they weren't getting the same attention as the child who had autism?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. And I mean, sometimes the other children would react to it. For sure. They would, yeah.
So would this be fair for the other children? Think about that. We'll have to take a break. Exo Nation, Cress Spiker's our guest, and we'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Welcome back, everyone. Cress Spicer is our special guest. We're talking about body talk. We're talking about autism. We're talking about stress. And if you'd like to find out more about Cress, her website is infinitebodytalk.net. So, Chris, before we went to the break, if you've Now, I don't believe in segregation whatsoever when it comes to children with disabilities and children who have no apparent disabilities. But how does the school system or how do the teachers balance between the children who need the extra attention and the children who apparently don't? Because we know kids, they carry grudges. So how is this coped with?
You know what? Sometimes it was coped with really badly in the classroom, right? I mean, there were some classes, especially when in the Vancouver, I remember going into, and children were sort of reacting on each other, and sometimes they would create behaviors because they wanted attention as well.
Sure.
And basically what would happen was that sometimes I'd do a friendship group with the whole class. So basically, so the child wouldn't feel segregated. And also going into teaching them, like, when I teach, we go in and teach them, like, zones of regulation. So the whole sort of just having the one child learn it, they all could together. And basically, it's like they're learning how they are feeling. It's like blue is like feeling upset and sad, and then green's like the ultimate state, and then yellow's anxious, and then red's angry. And it's sort of like leading a circle, so, involving all the children. Because I noticed, like, some of the classrooms, like, they're all playing off each other, and to be able to involve the whole class in everything, and to be able to ask everybody how they're feeling and make it into sort of a group thing was the ultimate thing. And, so giving the child the ability to sort of check in on themselves and to see, include everybody was the ultimate thing, right?
Are there any statistics that you're aware of that show if more young men or young women are targeted by autism?
Statistics do show that there's more men, boys, with autism.
Really? Yeah?
And less girls, yeah.
Do we know why? Do we know what triggers it?
I'm not sure. I mean, sometimes, it could be a genetic thing. It could be an environmental thing. Like, sometimes the autism they've shown has been triggered by vaccinations. And, so I don't know, it could be a whole bunch of things.
Well, the way I understand it, that there's no direct evidence, scientific evidence or medical evidence to point to the fact that a child has received a vaccination to autism. So how can we say that?
So basically, I say there's many different things, not just one thing. There's many different things that could create it, and it's also an imbalance in the brain too.
So is autism a neurological disorder?
Yeah.
All right, so does a child ever outgrow autism, or is he autistic for the rest of his life or her life?
Well, there have been. You've heard stories in the media, where kiddies have outgrown autism. I mean, that it just depends.
But how can a child outgrow a neurological disorder?
Well, there's things, there's things to help your child, right? You can help them through diet. Because, there's things that, there's markers that are related to autism, and often they often have gut issues and intolerances and allergies and things like that. So if you can provide the correct diet, maybe, I have a friend in Vancouver who gives the child homeopathy and a whole bunch of things. She puts him on a special diet, and So, and also going through therapy and things like that, it can really help the child become more able and capable and balanced with dealing with things. You know what I mean? There's things you can do to actually really assist the child to have a whatever a normal life is. But, I mean, they still, you know, it's not like you're curing them. You're assisting them to have a better lifestyle.
So where do you see the treatment of autism in the next 5-10 years?
I don't know.
Is there research going on presently for autism?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's always lots of research going on for it, for sure.
And what is research telling us about autism and how it can be beat?
Oh gosh, no, I'd have to find that out offhand. I don't have that information on me right now. Okay. Yeah. I know there's like websites and things where you can find out about like the latest research and things like that into it, but offhand, I haven't got that on me. I don't have that in front of me, that information.
What is the average age of a patient that you see for autism?
Well, when I work with them in, like, with the BodyTalk and the probably about, I work with some young children because, I mean, generally sometimes children don't get started diagnosed about 2 or 3 years old. So 3 years old. I worked with a 2.5-year-old a couple of months ago, long distance, and it was like the child was in India, and I did all his sessions long distance, and there was a lot of like brain links came up for him.
How does long distance healing work?
So basically, it's using, I use a surrogate. Like I used him in that case. Often when I work with children with autism, I'll use the parents as a surrogate. Like sometimes they'll come into the clinic, or I used his mother as a surrogate. Like,
right.
So the child was asleep, and then I do the session on the mother, which the session was linked into the child, so the child would receive all the links. It just depends. Yeah, I mean, sometimes with the children, I'll use the mother as a surrogate for them.
So what are your final thoughts for the listening audience of the X Zone Nation tonight about the work that you do and how you can help children with autism? You don't have any words of wisdom?
Oh, I do. I'm just thinking. Yeah, I mean, these children, I've just been very inspired by them, and that there's things that we can do to assist them on their journey into becoming more whole in their functioning, like in their social skills and their language skills, and you know, just connecting and communicating in general.
Can a child with autism lead a normal adult life?
It depends on the level, right? You know, there's different levels of functioning of autism. It could be pretty severe, you know, where you require in diapers, non-verbal, and require like full-on help and assistance, to more like the high-function Asperger's, like gifted Asperger's are very social, or not social, but they have good language skills and able to express themselves, but still may need, you know, some checking in. I don't think you can have like a normal, you know, I think that,
right.
Yeah, I mean, they can lead full lives, get jobs, get married, and there's some very high functioning.
Well, if a person who has autism as a child and they grow up and have children, will their children have autism?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Like, I'd have to check on I don't want to say yes or no that it's definitely going to be that way. I mean, there's many factors that can contribute to that.
Right.
It's the environmental things. Sometimes, you'd get people with autism, like the parents are engineers, or, there's so many different factors that it doesn't necessarily that, because
Sure.
somebody has it, it's going to be that way. But I don't want to say,
All right, Chris,
not-
we've run out of time for tonight. I want to thank you so much. Exo Nation, I'll be back on the other side of this news break at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. To all our Canadian listeners, this weekend is Canada Day. Canada is 150 years young, so to each and every Canadian and want to be Canadian, happy Canada Day.